Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, class. This is Coach Harris coming to you about the lesson today. The lesson that we'll be going over will be deviance, teen challenges, and the life stages. What I'm gonna do for you is I'm gonna go through this lesson plan via PowerPoint. So I need you to follow along as we keep going to make sure everybody kind of stay on task. The first thing that we'll be covering, the standards. It's standard 24, examining the processes of socialization through one's lifespan, and also define deviance and describe conformity with and deviation from cultural norms. Of course, you see on your left-hand side what your students need to know, and on the right-hand side, what the student should be able to show at the end of this lesson. I'll give you a second to kind of read through those before we move on. Okay, this is the exemplar. What does proficiency look like, and how will the students earn points? The students will earn points by completing the tiered assignments and participating in the class activities and discussions. They must also be able to do everything on the what the student should show portion of the lesson plan. If you ever have an issue with that, you can always flip back through your lesson plan to see that. Being by the fact that the classroom discussions and the activities, the class activities will consist of completing your bell work, your tiered assignments 1, 2, and 3, and your assessment. The discussion part will be participating in our live virtual classroom, which is set to be held on whatever particular day that you have. If you tune into that, you will be getting your participation points for that. First thing first, bell work. You are required to answer these questions 1 through 4 using the BTW way, breaking it down so you have a thorough understanding of it. By this time, you should have already completed this assignment. So basically what I'm going to do is go through it with you. All right, number 1, during this stage in life, you become more aware of the fragility of health. And the key word is fragility. Fragility is it's a stage of being fragile, meaning that your health is declining and you're starting to pay a little bit more close attention to it. Our choices, we have adolescence, middle age adulthood, old age, and early adulthood. What we'll find to realize is adolescence, a lot of times, that's the age in which you all are currently in. Y'all are really not pretty much paying attention to health. Y'all think y'all invincible at times, but for the most part, you know that there'll be one of your throwaway answers to the T. Your middle age adulthood is an age in which you're close. You're in between the ages of 40 to 50. Old age, which a lot of people put a number on, but old age is pretty much in many people aspects 60 plus. And then you have early adulthood. Early adulthood is looked at as when you graduate from college, around 22, 23, 24, and all the way up to your 40s. That's your early adulthood. So, what did you get? Okay, the correct answer should be middle adulthood. Middle adulthood is usually around the time whereas you're going to the doctor, making sure everything is intact, making sure you're healthy, making sure you don't have high blood pressure or any other little ailments or whatnot. You're probably going to the doctor a little bit more than often. Old age, you're going a little bit more frequently. Early adulthood, you still in that age where you kind of think you invincible and you don't really need to go to the doctor. You're pretty much caught up in your life and you're doing a lot of things, but at the same token, you still think that you're healthy because you're doing certain healthy things. So the correct answer should be B, middle adulthood. Number 2, the study of aging and the elderly is called. And I give you a chance to come up with that. Okay. As we break down the different terms or whatnot, gerontocracy. That is the society governed by old people. So this is a situation whereas you have a society or community in which older or elderly people are pretty much their government. They pretty much come up with all the rules and the regulations of their community. So we know that's not it. Ageism. Ageism is the prejudice of a person's age. That's like an action or whatnot, like racism or you discriminating against the elderly people because they age. And a lot of times this happens with jobs, also other little leagues or clubs that they probably would like to be a part of, but they don't want them a part of it because they feel like they're too old. They don't pretty much have a lot of youth to offer. Gerontology. Gerontology is pretty much, if we use our context clues or whatnot, the study of, a lot of times it's going to always have an ology at the end. So this is the study of old age. And cohort. Cohort is a group of people that have statistical factors in common age or close membership. So these are people, like they say, we usually cohort together or whatnot. Usually, as y'all young people are, y'all tend to gather a group together based upon your interests, your age, and things of that nature. So the correct answer should have been C, if you broke it all the way down. Number 3, which is not a teen issue of today? I give you a second to answer that. Okay, if we really breaking it down, obesity, which has been real high for a lot of teens today because you all have a lot more access to things like electronics and things of that nature. So obesity has been a big issue with a lot of teens now. Drugs and alcohol. Some of you may not do it, but I'm pretty sure you know some of your peers that may indulge in some of these activities, and it has become a real issue nowadays because now kids are not able to even function right without having some of these things. And they be needing this. I ain't gonna necessarily say they need it, but they depend on it to cope with some of their personal struggles in life. Mental health, which a lot of y'all may think or assume it's just you being crazy. Mental health is just you being uncomfortable with certain things. And a lot of times, teens go through many things that disrupt their mental health. So this is a big thing. Even though you may feel like you cool or you good, there are certain things that bother you in your life that kind of veer you from having a perfect life. So this will kind of put you in the category of being mentally unstable. So the correct answer is D, all the above. All of these are things that many of you are faced with. If not, you know somebody in your age group that are faced with these and tend to suffer from these. So that's all the above, D. Number 4, what has been the leading cause of teenage deaths in the U.S. this year? And we focusing on this year. I'll give you a second. Okay, now we're finna go through these. A, the answer is suicide. B, marijuana. C, opioids. D, alcohol. So the first thing is suicide. Many of you probably don't know too many of your peers that actually commit suicide or whatnot. But suicide has been on the rise with a lot of young people nowadays based upon their mental health. And it's a lot of things that they're going through that people wouldn't dare understand how they feel about it or care less about how they feel about it. So they figure they'd rather take their own life to solve everything, which is not really a good option to me. But that's not the correct answer. B, marijuana. As you pretty much know, many people don't die from marijuana. You may have people that probably smoke a little too much of it, but they don't die from it. Not in high volumes. Opioids. And many of y'all probably be trying to figure out what is an opioid. Well, opioids are painkillers, suppressants, depressants. These are pills. And of course, you have a lot of teens that be taking pills for whatever reason, but they take pills to cope with certain things, certain depression, to look hip, to look cool, to fit in. And this has caused a lot of people and a lot of kids their lives. D, alcohol. As you of course know, kids, they do drink. Some kids do drink a little too much and they may have a hangover or may have alcohol poisoning from consuming too much alcohol. But it is not the leading cause of death in the U.S. this year. Now, some kids may consume a lot of alcohol and then go and do other things that may cause their death. But to actually sit there and drink and it cause their death, it's kind of highly unlikely. So the correct answer was C, opioids. There's a lot of drugs out here, people lacing drugs, doing all kind of stuff. The only thing my advice to you is to stay away from drugs altogether, because it can get you hooked. It can make you do some things that you wouldn't dare do in your right mind. And I would just advise to do something different to cope with some of that. Try to seek some professional help. Go talk to a mental health specialist or something of that nature. So if we go back and go back through the Bell work, the first answer was B, middle adulthood. Number 2, the correct answer was C, gerontology. Number 3 was D, all the above. And number 4 is C, opioids. Okay, moving on to the next one. This is a connection slide. Today you will learn about the challenges of teenagers and in the various life stages. You don't really have a text. Your text is pretty much going to be your lesson plan, so you don't have to worry about that. You will understand it when the students can show knowledge, comprehension, and application of the content. This is pretty much through your Bell work, also the discussions that we're going to have during your virtual classroom, your completion of your tiered assignments, and also you mastering the assessment for this week. You will receive a grade by completing the tiered assignments and participating in the classroom activities and discussions. So we had already been through that as well. Why is this important? So the students can understand about the challenges of teenagers and the different stages of life. Many of you don't know all these things, so therefore that's why we're going to go through it. Okay, the by the way slide. Life is broken down in 4 stages: childhood, adolescence, adulthood, and old age. In this week's lesson, we will discuss how our society organizes human experience into distinctive stages of life. So with this, you'll watch the video and you'll answer a couple of questions about that. So the video, you'll go through that, but we're not going to view the video. I'm going to let you view the video at your own leisure. And then we can kind of discuss this during your virtual classroom. So what did you get that we should be doing each stage? As you really saw the video, it broke down all the phases, the different 4 phases. When you came into this world, all the way when you left this world. It's not necessarily, the thing is about you enjoying life. And by you enjoying life, you will see that there are a lot of things that you should enjoy. If you feel like you are not enjoying it during your childhood, when you become of age and you start to have kids, just make sure you try to give them some of those experiences that you wish you have had. And the next question is this: could you relate to some of the segments in the video? Me personally, I could relate to a lot of them, especially going through school, which y'all at that point now, adulthood. I graduated from college. I have went on to have a family now, even all the way to the extent of having a grandchild. So I'm actually in the only phase that I haven't got to, the only 2 phases is old age and death. So I'm looking forward to both of those because everybody has to leave this earth, but hopefully I've been fulfilled my life and passed on a lot of great memories, knowledge, my wisdom that I have encompassed while I've been here on earth. And hopefully I'll be able to pass something down to the next generation as they continue to pass down some of my teachings, hopefully. Okay, next we're going to watch the video of Erik Erikson's 8 stages of development. And basically what I want you to do is break down what you see in the video. Now I want you to take good notes of this, and also some questions that you may have at the end of this. So I let you do that at your own convenience too. I want you to write down the 8 stages, and then we're gonna answer 2 questions at the end of it, in which I should be telling you shortly. Okay, we're gonna go down to the 8 stages. The first stage: basic trust and mistrust. This is usually when you're a baby, you're an infant, all the way to 2 years old. And basically you come into the world, the first 2 people that you really banking on to really protect you and to learn trust, can you trust these folk, are your parents. Because they're the ones that's there nurturing you, helping you grow, and protecting you. The next phase: autonomy versus shame and doubt. This is your early childhood stages, all the way up to 4. You're a toddler. So a lot of times, little kids are very curious. They're curious about a lot of different things. If they're walking around nude or whatnot, the older they get, they have a sense of their identity. So you want to try to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to do at that age. They're figuring a lot of stuff out about their bodies to see if everything is cool or whatnot. So it comes down to the parents to teach them the appropriate thing and appropriate way of carrying themselves. The third phase or stage is initiative and guilt. This is usually your preschool years, 4 to 5 years old. And during this time, a lot of kids, they're still in their curious stage. But if they're doing something too deliberate and they know they're not supposed to, they'll keep on trying you until you say something, correct them, or reprimand them. So usually if a child knows that they did something, they always say, uh-oh, or ooh, and they'll look at you because they know they have done something. Now, the whole thing is, how do you resolve that issue? Some people, they talk to their kids. Some people, they reprimand their child by paddling them. That remains in your hands is how you want to sit up here and discipline your own child. I believe in both, depending on how extreme the situation is or was, or if I had to keep on telling my child over and over and over to stop doing something, it can result into something a little bit more firmer. The next stage, industry and inferiority. Okay, this is your school age. This when the kids are pretty much going to kindergarten all the way to the 6th grade. So this age is 5 through 12. And this is where the kids start to feel wanted or included. The industry part of it is the fact that if they're doing something and they're building on it, they feel wholesome. They feel worthy. But the inferiority part comes from if you're getting on that child a little bit too much, then they'll shy away from things. Identity, the next stage is identity and role confusion. This is your adolescent stage. This is where you all are pretty much are. Your identity, y'all are still trying to figure out who you are, what you want to be in life. Some of you all are very boisterous. Some of you are a lot reserved. Some of you passive. Some of you are a little bit more extreme. But for the most part, if your parent tends to force you to go their way and you want to kind of conform to how your peers are, that's where the role confusion come in at. Because it's like you don't want to be ridiculed or pretty much made fun of based upon that. So this is your time, whereas you're kind of in between what you actually want to do in life, making decisions, who you want to be associated with. And sometimes this is one of your toughest stages in life. To me, it is, because you're trying to find your own identity. And sometimes people can be like, no, you're not going to be that. The next stage, intimacy and isolation. This is the segue, whereas this is early adulthood, and this is from 20 to 40 years old. And a lot of times this is when you start to develop intimate relationships, have relationships with your friends, also your lady friend or your male friend, and also isolation. A lot of times if people don't accept you, tend to isolate yourself and be by yourself. So this is generativity and stagnation is your next phase. This is your adulthood, in which it's from 40 to 65. And this is pretty much your stable type of stage. This is where you have lived a little bit. You're comfortable in your career. You pretty much have worldly views. You tend to kind of be out in the community a little bit more. You tend to do a lot bit more with the community. And the last stage would be ego, integrity, and despair. This is your maturity. This is ages 65 through death. And what usually happens during this period is you're trying to see, has your life been rewarding, whereas you can pretty much feel good about yourself, or you tend to kind of isolate yourself, being by the fact you don't want to be around anybody because you feel like your life hasn't panned out the way that you want it to. So those are your 8 different stages of Erik Erikson's stages of development. So this go all the way from birth to death. So based on the video, do you agree or disagree about the examples that they use? I'll give you a second to think about that.
There's a bug in there. There's a bug in there.
Okay. So I want you to do that. The next question that I have: do any of your family members exemplify some of the people in the video? And I want you to think about that. I want you to bring that to I want you to bring that. I want you to bring that to the discussion tomorrow. Okay. The next slide that we have is a video of the 10 struggles of teenagers. I want y'all to view that, and then we'll pretty much go over that doing a virtual video as well. And then I want you to kind of jot down some of the struggles that you may not see in the video and bring it to the discussion also. Because there may be some things in that video that you may be like, that's not none of my struggles. That's not any of my struggles. So therefore, I want you to jot down as many struggles that you may see yourself or your peers dealing with. Okay. So here go the question is the checking for understanding during the discussion. Could you name any other challenges that you or your peers may face? And I want you to share that with us when you come to your virtual class. Okay, the next video is about levels and stages of adulthood. You'll have a chance to sit back and watch this video as well. The thing that I want you to kind of hop on or think about, you got two different periods that Levinson said that he really focused on during his theory. It's the stable period, and the stable period is a time of consistency when a person makes crucial life choices. And a lot of times that's when you get a little of age where you trying to kind of solidify yourself. And also your transitional period. That's the end of a certain life stage and the beginning of a new one, in which we're going to run down these kind of quick. And I'm going to give you an example of each one of them. Okay. The first one is early adult transition. That's from 17 to 22. And that I kind of equate that you going out to college and you pretty much kind of establishing your own independence from your parents. You detaching from your parents. This is your first opportunity of freedom and being out on your own. The second is entering the adult world. That's from ages 22 to 28. This is usually your first real job. You're having a relationship. You're getting married. You're starting your family. This is what you usually be doing during that age. Age 30 transition is your next stage. That's 28 through 33. You contemplate if they're doing what they want to do. So this is at that age whereas you trying to figure out, am I really doing what I set out to do? Do I really want to do that? And if you're not doing it, sometimes people make career changes and start doing what they want to do all the time or find their purpose, their sense of purpose. The next stage, settling down. This is from ages 33 to 40. And you establish a role in the workforce and in the community. So this is where you kind of comfortable, real comfortable with what you're doing now. And you're doing things within the community to kind of help out. So this can range from a variation of things. Being with the homeowners association, being a coach, being a deacon or youth counselor at the church. There's a lot of things that you can be doing during your settling down period. The next thing is your midlife transition. And this from 40 to 45. Now I'm at the point now where I'm questioning my happiness. So a lot of times you get up this age, you be like, man, you probably spent about 20 hours. I mean, not 20 hours, but 20 years doing a job that you may not feel fulfilled you. So you trying to figure out, even with your relationships, you could been married 10, 15 years and you trying to figure out, is this the right person for me? Do I really want to be in this relationship? So a lot of times people have this during this stage. Next stage, entering middle adulthood. This is ages 45 through 50. This is when you have been married, you got a family, your kids are starting to leave the house now, they're graduated from college. They're venturing into early adulthood, or they're doing now. You're starting to do things that you enjoy. You're traveling with your spouse. You're doing things that are more pleasurable for you, or traveling by yourself if that's the case. The next thing is late adulthood. This 60 plus. This is where you're pretty much enjoying life. You are enjoying your grandkids. You're traveling. You're doing a host of things on your own terms, so to speak. So those are the stages that Levinson said. And those are 7 stages. Okay, the next thing, now he goes to your tiered assignments or whatnot. Tier 3, the first thing you're going to do, you're going to match the various stages. You got a handout. You're going to have an attachment on Teams with your assignment that you can view, and you're going to attach the answers to everything on there. So you're going to put your bell work, tier 3, tier 2, and tier 1. You're going to label all of those specifically under what they are. And you're going to turn it in under a Word doc or a Google document. And the only thing you have to do is follow the directions. Now, the tier 2 is you're going to sketch 5 things that you or your peers struggle with as a teenager. What I probably suggest to you is this. Sketch it on a piece of paper. Download it on your device as a picture. And then crop it in to your assignment. Or attach it to your assignment, which say tier 2. So I have an understanding of that. The next thing is you're going to write a 250 to 500 word essay. And the whole thing is that some sociologists suggest that adult female development and adult male development are similar. Only the way that men and women handle the various stages are different. So basically you're going to use Levinson's. You can either use Levinson stages of adulthood, or you can use Erik Erikson's stages of life to compare and contrast men and women and how they approach those situations a little bit different. And I want you to use examples, real life examples. Use some people in your family that you are close to kind of explain some scenarios. You don't necessarily have to say the person's name or whatnot, but you can do that. Finally, after you finish all that, you're going to have an assessment. Your assessment is going to be attached under quizzes in Microsoft Teams. You're going to have 5 multiple choice questions. You're going to do it the BTW way. Every one of you should know how to do the BTW way. First thing is the basic answer, or what the whole basics of the, what is it talking about? The question, what is it talking about? The T, that's your throwaway answers. Those are the ones that you figure that don't make any sense to you. And your W, that's going to be the actual answer in which you specify why you chose that answer. And then you're going to have those questions, those 5 questions going to be worth 10 points apiece. The next thing is you're going to have 2 questions where you're going to have to list the 8 stages of Erik Erikson's stages of life. And then you're going to have to list the 7 stages of adulthood by Levinson. So you're going to get 25 points for each. You have to make sure you include all the stages at one time. If you do not include all the stages at once, you would not get full credit for that question. So I'm going to give you more than enough time to kind of study and look over that so you know what to do on that. As far as the details at the bottom of this, you don't have to worry about that. Once your due date and all that is going to be at the bottom of your team's account. So whether it's the assignment or the quiz, you will have more than enough time to get that to me. You'll be doing all that in one day. Once I post your quiz, you are authorized to make sure you send it back to me as soon as possible. If it do not meet that deadline, you will not get full credit for it, or you may end up getting a zero for it. So, any questions? If not, I'm going to see you on your day. And all the questions that you may have, jot those down and ask me when you see me. Other than that, it's been a great opportunity to teach you this lesson. And I look forward to talking to you all on your respective day. Have a good one. Good morning, good night, good afternoon, whatever it may be. God bless.